classic panel discussion. The topic is AI and Analytics CoE and Capability Hubs in GCCs, Reimagine the New. Our first panelist to join us on the stage is Terence John, Managing Director, Northern Tool Plus Equipment India. Our first panelist is an accomplished, result-oriented global leader with 25 plus years of experience across retail, manufacturing, and information technology. He spent a large part of career working in the captive capability center model. Previously instrumental in setting up Giant Eagle GCC from ground up, establishing capabilities in technology, business operations, data analytics, and innovation. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting Terence John. Our next panelist is Vijoe Mathew, Global Director, Analytics, InBev. He heads Global Operations, Analytics CoE at InBev. He's a multifaceted leader with thorough exposure to machine learning, deep learning, Internet of Things, data mining, analytics product development, and big data stack. Prior to InBev, he worked with Tesco PLC as head of commercial analytics and Honeywell as advanced analytics leader. All those waiting to really give a shout out, this is your moment. Give it up for Vijoe Mathew. Completing the panel is Titir, Director and Head, Analytics and Information Management, Citi. He is an analytics leader who believes in combining advanced and analytics with powerful technology for business decision making. He's currently working across 17 countries in Asia and Europe, implementing next generation data science solutions. Additionally, he leads a team working on fraud and operations analytics globally. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Titir. And our moderator today for this panel is a member of the core GCC Leadership Council and leads the overall cluster of business strategy, insights, product, experience, and operations at Giant Eagle GCC. He has a 23 years of rich experience across corporate strategy and operations, business insights, transformation, customer experience, fintech, and management consulting. His areas of expertise include people operations, business intelligence, and corporate governance. You'd have guessed by now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking about Kaushik Das, GCC leader, business operations and insights, Giant Eagle.
Thank you, Fatima. That was kind of rock star introduction. So we've been listening to this since morning, all the introductions, and we thought, wow, that's kind of pretty mouthful. Last sessions of the day in any format of the game is always tricky, right? So here we are. I'm sure the lineup we have here is going to kind of hold it strong. GCC, Global Capability Centers, as we know them, have been around for quite some time. These are strategically important arms of the parent organization. But I'd like to start off throwing kind of a couple of numbers out there. We all love numbers in this room, right? So according to a report last year, India hosts about 1,500 plus global capability centers for global organizations, employing more than 1.5 million people, which is awesome. The second statistic is more closer to home. In this room, we have about 55 plus GCCs partnering and representing themselves today, which is a big deal. Please give it a hand. Thanks 3AI, thanks Samir for bringing us together. This is incredible. Now going back to GCCs, when we hear the name Global Capability Center or GCCs, the first thing probably that springs up the mind is the word cost arbitrage. I mean, that was the game probably a decade ago, but then things are definitely changing, things are evolving. Today, when we say GCC, it's more of a leverage, more of innovation, more of transformation. A transformation which at its core is powered by analytics and AI, right? And smarter ways of decision making, better implementation of decisions, nurturing the talent, nurturing innovation, you name it all. AI and analytics have been at the core of propelling the GCCs to their full potential. So to the panel, I have probably three parts, the way I would want to break it up. And AI and analytics itself has seen a bit of a disruption and transformation pre and post-COVID. So my first question would start off with you, Titir, being part of a big global enterprise, on how do you see the new winds of change in the craft itself, AI and analytics, kind of on a lens from a global enterprise? How do you see the overall craft evolving or the way you are differentiating it now compared to what it was before COVID?
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity to talk to everybody here. Obviously, all of us in the world has gone through a lot of changes in the last 3 years, right? The pandemic has been good for some industries, not great for others, mixed for others. But post the pandemic, everybody is facing very similar uncertainties: geopolitical, talent, markets, several things. Most global organizations are slowly going into a bit of a cautious mode, into a wait and watch kind of a mode at the moment. Now, how does this impact their analytics and AI strategy? Fundamentally, first thing to think about is analytics per se is now a core ubiquitous function in every large organization. So I don't think pre-post pandemic, nothing much has changed for analytics. It remains important. Problems have changed. Consumer preferences have changed, so we are looking at different problems. But fundamentally, that is the same place. The story about AI is slightly different, though. For AI, companies have gone through, a hype cycle, and it's kind of, some of them have really brought it to scale and got the success from AI, but those are few companies in only certain industries. Many of the others are actually going through a bit of understanding of what and how AI can be applied successfully at scale in their organizations. So fundamentally, companies are evaluating it. They are finding that sometimes data is not fit for purpose. They're finding integration into the legacy systems is difficult. So these are the things that are kind of not letting it come to its full potential yet. But there is a big silver lining in all of this over the last 2-3 years, which is an understanding of use cases in which AI can be applied in an organization has massively expanded. For example, we are in the banking space. We've been traditionally using predictive analytics, AI, for things like risk, fraud, predicting customer behavior and personalizing stuff. But some of the newest on-scale implementation is on automating core banking operations, like automated KYCs, or looking at check processing automatically, and automating. And there was a session in the morning around controls and monitoring of calls, of high-value transactions, etc. So while companies are cautious, they are understanding how and when AI can be successful. There has also been a big expansion of where all AI can be applied into the industry. So that's a bit of a nuanced answer, but that's my take.
No, thank you. That helps, and I think what we hear is more differentiated use cases, specifically in the space of AI. And thought this is probably a quick space to kind of check in before we jump into the GCC aspect. But Vijoe, I would come to you, and then TJ after that. By the way, TJ and I worked together for a good number of months, and it's difficult for me to call him John, so it's still TJ. Vijoe, differentiated use cases of AI with global operations and analytics. How do you see that?
First of all, cheers everyone.
That's a setup.
That's a setup. Of course, in ABI we don't wait till evening for saying cheers, right? So, first and foremost, right, I would definitely, reflect on the changes that COVID brought to us, right? We never thought that we could work from home for 3 years with no challenges, right? Actually, the productivity increased, the results of most of the companies increased. We never thought that our kids could don't have to go to school and sit at home and study for 2 years without no challenges, right? During the same period, what has happened also is that the customer shopping patterns change completely. The spend patterns of customers change completely, right? So what was right before COVID doesn't stand, good anymore. Adding to this, I don't think the world ever saw the amount of investments that has gone into digitization over the last 3 years, right? Billions and billions of dollars are spent by most of the Fortune 500 companies to digitize their organization because COVID was a big learning and everybody was very much, aware now that a traditional way of working may not work during all the scenarios, right? So digitization again brought a lot of meaningful data. One of the biggest challenge always analytics had was with data, especially when it comes to sales and marketing and top-line analytics. Data was always a big challenge. But with digitization, what we are seeing, at least in ABI, is that we have more access to customer data, and that is really allowing us to do a lot of things. Just to give an example, right, 5 years back, pretty much 90% of our sales was traditional. Fast forward to 2023, 50% of our sales is through a B2B platform. That's the amount of digitization we managed to do in the last 3 years, which means that next 2-3 years, pretty much 90% of our sales will be through a B2C platform or a D2C platform. And for analytics, I definitely believe that COVID was a booster. Why? Because whatever solutions we built before COVID doesn't stay good anymore. A forecasting model that you built in 2019 won't perform anymore because the macroeconomic factors and everything that impacts your sales, your revenue has changed completely, right? The shopping patterns change, which means that you have to really think how you're going to design solutions that caters to the new crowd, right? The spend patterns change. Liking of customers changed. So what we are finding is that there is a reset of everything that we are doing, right? Every solution that we built before 2020 needs to be revamped, relooked at. And that added with the amount of data that we are getting from the customers, I think it's a great time for analytics. I think it's a great opportunity for us to understand the customer behavior, which is the crux of everything that we are doing in analytics, right? Either we want to increase the sales or reduce our overheads. And to increase sales, the best thing that we need to do is to understand the customer behavior. And I think with the amount of digitization that we are seeing today, we are in a great place to accelerate. So I overall believe that in a post-COVID, the scope of analytics has only increased, and the kind of value creation that we can bring with analytics has only increased significantly.
Yes, and for Northern Tool and Equipments, we have really gone back to the garage. And what I mean by saying that is we have got experimental as far as advanced analytics and AI is concerned. Now, Northern Tool and Equipments is a retailer, and as much as we are a retailer, we are also a manufacturer. Until now, we've been solving data problems. Until now, we've been solving for business solutions and issues that they've been coming up with. But right now, what we are looking at is to build products and services with advanced analytics and AI. And what better place than the GCC? Right now, what we have taken up as one of our first initiatives as part of the CoE within the GCC is to make our generators smart generators. Now, we are a manufacturer. We have generators that we produced along with the other generators that we sell in our retail stores. And we want to make them as smart generators, building predictive analytics through IoT, but beyond that, serviceability, providing alerts, and also thereby giving a shopping experience if our customer wants to shop parts and take it for a service or have something serviced at their doorstep. We really want to go there, really build products and services, and help advanced analytics and AI contribute to our revenue line, not just in providing solutions for our business. That's where we are in the post-COVID stage, and that's what this CoE, which is driven out of the GCC, is helping us to do.
Thank you. Thanks, Tia. Thanks, Vijoe, Titir. Now, that's a good segue to the next element of our discussion, which is GCCs and AI and analytics. AI and analytics often cluster as a CoE from the GCC perspective, and being a lever of transformation, it's usually there is a connotation of what's the value coming out of it, the value creation aspect coming out of it. So Vijoe having operations in multi-geography and delving into the data that you get out of all of these places, how does that value creation come through your lens?
Great question. I've been in this industry for some time, and there was a time when it was fashionable to have an AI center of excellence attached to all the Fortune 500s. I used to see companies saying that we have 1,000-strong AI practice, 500-strong AI practice, right? Because it was seen as a great thing to have. But again, fast forward to 2023, there are cost pressures, and people are even looking at what is the ROI I'm getting from these centers, right? And the biggest challenge I see with most of the centers and the AI practices is the authenticity of the numbers that we are quoting from a value creation point of view, right? Sometimes I always say that to my friends that sometimes when you add up the value that the AI Center of Excellence are quoting, and then you will look at the same numbers against the annual performance of the company, there is no match. Right, because the AI centers are supposed to be making hundreds of millions of dollars in top line and bottom line savings and growth, but that doesn't reflect in the company's performance in most cases. So the need of the hour, what we felt is that to bring authenticity to the numbers that we are quoting and to make it believable for everyone, right? So over the last 2 years, what we've been doing, we've been working with McKinsey to build a framework on value creation. Sometimes what happens is that the amount of effort that you have to put to validate the value, the delta value that's coming from initiatives, it could be even more than the actual effort that we have put on building the solution. And this is typically the case with top-line solutions, right? Think about it. Somebody is doing marketing analytics, somebody is doing sales, somebody is doing promo, somebody is doing discount. Everybody is quoting the same uplift as the uplift that they bought. Finally, you're looking at a number which is unbelievable, right? So over the last 2 years, our effort has been on building something called a test ops platform that can really look at a lot of experiments, right? A lot of experiments to understand what is the delta that we are bringing from from a value point of view. And what has happened is that our value creation numbers are significantly reduced, which I would say is a great thing because the numbers are reduced, but those are credible numbers. And second thing, what we are now doing also is to say that if a number is quoted, it has to be approved by FP&A, and it has to be on the P&L of the company. And the beauty of this is that this could really make your Analytics CoE self-sufficient in the sense that self-funding. Because going forward, if I can just say that if I have made substantial savings, if I can get 2% cut from the same savings, we can keep the engine going. Because otherwise, every year it's a fight for getting CapEx for analytics, right? So for us, for sure, value creation is a big agenda, but beyond that, bringing credibility to what numbers you're quoting is a big agenda for us. And I think the investments that we made in that space over the last 2 years is really paying off for us.
Thanks, Vijoe. At least the self-funding aspect is tremendous. You gave a point.
Yeah, and we all know, right? I mean, you've been in the retail space too. AI or advanced analytics is not new to the retail space. One of the areas where it is highly adopted is supply chain. Right? Similarly, at Northern as well, in our warehouses, we have robots which are picking up orders and fulfilling orders, right? The other area is demand planning in a big way where we use algorithms for a very long period of time. Contact centers, interaction, but not only improve the interaction and giving a better customer experiences, but also helped us build efficiencies for the organization. Right now, what we are looking at value is two things. One is customer experience. How does it influence and improve customer experience? And the other one is about how does it impact our key levers, key performance objectives of the organization, which is to improve in increased demand. We are looking at things like voice-based shopping, personalized product recommendations, and so on and so forth. So our value is totally driven and aligned to how we are going to then generate business value right now.
Awesome. And Titir, global enterprise, value creation, how's that to fit?
So I think they've covered most of it around value creation. I'll talk about value creation from GCCs. So I think fundamentally GCCs are very well established now over 2-3 decades in global enterprise as a reliable partner for delivering basic services to advanced services. And that's been established in a cost-effective manner. I think we also think with the way the world is evolving demographically and economically, GCCs in centers and countries like India will only see increasing demand over the next 5, 10, 15 years. Which really brings that as the GCC community, we need to also evolve from just being good centers of excellent delivery to centers of driving transformation and innovation. And that's where AI and analytics can really play a big role. And if you think about it, because in India, in GCCs, we have technology, we have processes, operations, analytics, we have data of a global enterprise from every region, every country, every business unit. Within an enterprise, their GCC is actually quite uniquely positioned to become the transformation and innovation driver. There are challenges. For example, all the different departments of a GCC work in their own silos, working with their parent organization. We need to figure out how to work better in collaboration with each other. All the GCCs sit in a very large technology and analytics ecosystem in our country. We need to get better at these kind of forums help at collaborating with that. We have a strong academia. We don't collaborate as well. So there is a lot that has to be done in that. But we believe fundamentally more demand for GCCs, and because of that, more responsibilities for GCCs to deliver on this innovation transformation promise.
Awesome. Thanks, Titir. Now, TJ, I'll come to you. Given the long track in the GCCs, setting up AI and analytics and growing and scaling and then blending the strategy along with the value creation aspect that we just heard from all of you, how do you see that when GCC starts up, and especially in the context of Northern Tools as you are kind of setting that up?
For us, at Northern, setting up the CoE for data analytics, data engineering and analytics here, and driving it globally, we kept it simple. For us, it's about keeping it real. Keeping it real, cutting out the hype around AI and advanced analytics. It's about bringing people, process, and technology together. People, yes, while we are trying to explore the art of the possible through advanced analytics and AI, but it's also important to bring in people from all walks of the enterprise, be it leadership based on the business side, be it on the technology side, have one common vision and mission towards what we want to achieve with advanced analytics and AI. Second thing is, as we come to a consensus, also looking at the technology stack. What is our current technology stack and what is the needs for the growing needs and growing demands? And third thing is about people and reskilling and upskilling people. I think so the CoE is about bringing everybody into a real world scenario where we all understand what are the enterprise needs, having a common goal and striving towards it. So really to mature from being experimental with AI and then really maturing and making it a part of our own DNA over a period of time.
Thanks, TJ. And Vijoe, I'll pass the same question to you with a small spin on adoption of AI and analytics in the overall scheme of things.
Yeah, I think the key factor is change management, right? Over the last 10 years, we've been always busy with building, data science team, acquiring data scientists, all of that. And in that process, a lot of these centers are becoming POC factories, right? There's a lot of use cases that we are building, but when you look at the adoption, it's pretty poor because we are not very far away from the business. We all want to create fancy solutions. And many of the times, what we are seeing is that adoption is pretty bad. So again, the effort today is on change management, right? And change management cannot always happen sitting in India with the center here. We need to invest in people in the zones, in the business, who are change agents, who would work with the operators. Because think about it, if I'm talking about a brewery, everybody there is somebody who's worked for 20 years in a traditional way. There is no way he or she is going to adopt something that we're going to say because they have so used to their ways of working. So what we understood from our experience over the last 5 years is the fact that we need to make significant investments on translators and change management agents in the zones, not just in India. those could become the accelerators for adoption, right? And one more thing that we are now making mandatory is the fact that every dream that we are seeing, there should be a co-dreamer from the business, right? Otherwise, we will create, again, solutions, but not fit for the business. So for me, it's about two things: creating, passionate owners in the zones, in the business, and investing heavily on translators and change management agents. That helps with the adoption.
Awesome. Now, just 3 minutes left. Before that thing turns red, something that we didn't touch on, and I want comments from all of you, is talent. As we talk about GCCs, AI and analytics, adoption, strategy, value creation, how does talent cut across all of it? And probably, Titir, I can start with you.
Yeah, I'll just make one point. I think talent's been covered in multiple ways, but one point, I think, we will all learn more AI technology, but I think we need to learn business skills. To Vijoe's point around change management, and if I especially, again, go back to the GCC concept, the differentiation for a GCC versus any other organization here is that we are part of the business, right? So we not only need to know AI and analytics, we should be very good at business, right? And some of the best GCCs actually have end-to-end projects being led out of the GCCs because people understand business very well. And then the ability to take analytics solutions, marry it to business, and then convince the organization takes a lot of consulting skills. So consulting skills, business skills, equally important to technical skills on analytics, AI, technology, whatever we are building.
Talent?
Talent, of course, yeah. I see over the last few years, right? If you think about it, what dictates the demand for a job is supply versus demand, right? There was a time when if I was asked to build a 100-member team, I would literally get a heart attack, right? But today, if somebody is asking me to build a 100-member CoE in analytics, honestly, it's not that difficult because supply is almost getting equivalent to the demand that we have. So I strongly believe that we have a great talent pool in India. And more than that, I believe that we have a great partner ecosystem in India, right? Because time to market is very much important for any business. Assuming that we have to build a $5 million marketing analytics project, if you think that you're going to build it in-house, it's going to take a lot of time. Recruiting the people, building the CoE, all of that, right? What we are doing today is that we are partnering heavily with our strategic partners, and that's really helping us to accelerate our journey significantly. So I think India, for these two reasons, I think there is a good future. One is the talent availability in India, quality talent, of course, I would say, and the partner ecosystem that we are seeing in India.
Yeah, I believe good talent is always difficult to find anywhere in the world. And we are at an advantage by being in the GCC here in India. We do have great talent, and it is our aim to build that capability in-house. But we are in an early stage of our GCC. There have been other organizations who have done this for the last 5, 10, 15 years, so we don't need to reinvent the wheel. We will be fast followers in many cases, and I think we have an awesome partner ecosystem, which we also want to leverage and capitalize to what Lijo said.
Perfect. Gentlemen, thank you so much. This was interesting. Time's up, but this was good. Hopefully, we made a good end of the day session and kind of was okay keeping a track of it.